In this video, I'm going to be going over a step-by-step tutorial on how you can start a podcast for beginners. This is going to be a complete walkthrough from the equipment and software that you might need, all the way to the platform that you could use to host your podcast on. So go ahead and click on the links down in the description below and follow along with me as I go through each step and all the websites that you can use to create your podcast. Okay, so number one is going to be the pre-production stage. This part of the production process is basically where you would go and script each video. So there are a ton of different platforms that you could use, but the one that I recommend is actually ClickUp or Notion. These two are super good for being able to script out and organize your entire content calendar for your podcast. And both of these platforms are free. We're leaving a link down in the description for you guys to check it out. But we highly recommend these two platforms because they basically allow you to create a system where you can keep track of and schedule your podcast. It's also great for being able to outline each episode because without one, you can easily go off topic. With one, you can give your podcast a sense of direction from beginning, middle, and ending. Now, this isn't totally necessary because you can just start your podcast without a script. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it really depends on the style that you want to go with. This definitely doesn't need to be a word-for-word script, but if you do want to have a time limit for your podcast and you want it to have some sort of structure, then you could definitely benefit from having a content calendar on ClickUp or Notion. We also have some tutorials here on StartupWise that can teach you how to use ClickUp or Notion. So here I am on an example content calendar for a podcast on ClickUp, and it works the same way on Notion. You would just create a board view or a list, and you can go ahead and give the name of each of your podcast episodes. So let's say we have multiple episodes. So this will be episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So let's say we have episode 1 in the published, and let's say episode 2 is at the post-production process right now. And let's say episode 3 is at the production process right now. Again, each of these statuses can be customized to whatever you like. And we do have tutorials on the channel that can teach you how to create content calendars and create different list statuses as well. So be sure to check those out. We'll leave a link down in the description. But yeah, ClickUp and Notion can be some really good platforms for you to use to organize the entire process that you have for all of your podcast episodes. Now, moving on to the second part of the process, which is the production side. This is where you move from scripting the video to actually filming the video. And the very first platform that I want to talk about is called Riverside FM. And this is a great platform if you want to record any interview podcast episodes. And just to give you guys a quick little tour of Riverside, you have the ability to create new studios. So you can name your studio and you can change the recording type to only audio, or you can have it with audio and video. So you can sort of think of Riverside FM as basically a higher quality version of Zoom. This is because instead of just one video file and audio file that you get after the call, Riverside FM actually allows you to export two different files. So one from your side and then another file from the other person that you're interviewing. And if I go into the studio recording, then you guys can see that there's one full recording of both people. And then you can also go to each track and you can go ahead and download the raw video or the raw audio for Charlie. And then I can also download the raw video and raw audio for the person that Charlie was interviewing. And another great thing about Riverside FM is that they actually allow you to record your calls in 4K. So we'll be leaving a link down in the description for you guys to check it out. Now, something really important that I want to talk about is that quality doesn't really matter. You can just get started with what you have. For example, if you don't have a mic, you could just use voice memos if you have an iPhone, or you can use any app that can record audio. Now, if you want to record video, you could just use somebody else's phone if you don't have a camera, and then you could just have them send you the video once you're done recording it. Now, if you do have a budget and you're looking for a high quality microphone, then I recommend actually checking out the Shure SM7B. This is a dynamic microphone that you see everyone using nowadays for all the high quality sounding podcasts. And if you're familiar with Joe Rogan, who's one of the biggest podcasters right now, he also uses this mic. Now, if you have a microphone that you want to plug into your laptop, you can use free platforms like GarageBand if you're on Mac, or you can use Audacity if you're on PC. These two apps are free to use and they're super simple for you to record into them, and you can also edit your audio on them. Now, moving on to the third step of the process, which is post-production. Now that you've scripted and outlined your video and you've also filmed it, you can now send your audio and video files onto a post-production editing software. And this is where you could do things like equalize your audio, audio, use any noise reduction that you might need. And you can also just cut out anything that you want taken out from the podcast. And you can also add in copyright-free music in the intro and outro from platforms like Motion Array and Epidemic Sound. We'll be leaving links down in the description for you guys to check out all of these platforms. We have videos on this channel that also will be able to teach you how to get copyright-free music using the Motion Array and Epidemic Sound platform, as well as tutorials on how to edit on a platform like Final Cut Pro. And now the last step of the process is going to be publishing your episode. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually use Anchor, which is a free to use platform that you can use to distribute your podcast across all platforms like Spotify podcasts, Apple podcasts, and a bunch of other streaming platforms. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is sign up with Anchor. Just go ahead and create an account. And from there, you can create your podcast and you can add some things like a description or like a logo. And pro tip for that, I highly recommend that you guys check out platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. And you guys can actually go on these platforms and you can actually look up some independent contractors on here that can help you create a logo for a really good price. For example, if I search up logo designer, I can go ahead and filter out a ton of different freelancers from my price range. So let's say I'm looking for someone under $10 per hour, and I'm also looking for someone who has a 90% and up job success rate. And Upwork also has some pretty cool features where you can shop by the projects instead. So this basically means you can have somebody create a logo for your podcast at a fixed price, and then they can have a 4-day delivery, 1-day delivery, and you can just search for people depending on how fast that you need the logo, as well as your price per project. And if you go on Fiverr, it's pretty much the same thing. So I could search for a logo designer and I could find a bunch of people, and they have different sections. Like these are the freelancers that most buyers keep returning to, meaning that they usually offer some pretty good services at a decent price. So you have different price levels from $15 all the way to $250 for a really good logo. Now, of course, you guys can just create your own logo using a free platform like Canva. And with Canva, there's tons of different templates that you guys can choose from. And so if I just click on create a design here and I just type in logo, then I can go ahead and select logo. And from here, they have a ton of different templates, as you guys can see, depending on your style. And I can go ahead and choose one of them, for example, this one, and I can go ahead and actually change these up. So if I want to change this to the Startup Wise podcast, I can go ahead and do that. And I can go ahead and remove this text, and I can go back and I can add some more elements. So let's say I want to add a picture of a $sign. So I can just go $sign. And let's say I want to go with this one. So I can go ahead and use this as the logo. I can go ahead and just move it around the screen and go ahead and get rid of this one. And yeah, so you can get super creative with this on Canva. But what I recommend is actually just hiring someone out on Upwork or Fiverr. This way you can have someone do it professionally and it'll save you a ton of time. After you create your podcast, you can go ahead and go to the top right-hand corner where it says new episode. And from here, you can do a quick upload, or you can actually record, edit, and enhance your audio through the Anchor platform. So if I click on that, then you guys are going to see that you have a bunch of different things that you can do. You can record your audio right from your browser. You can upload some audio from your computer. You can add songs from Spotify. You can add some voice messages, and you can even add some transitions with some free music and sound effects. So for me, like I showed you guys before, I downloaded the MP3 file from Riverside FM. I'm going to go ahead and upload it onto here as an example to show you guys. And while you're waiting for that to process, you can go ahead and also create an account with Apple Podcasts for creators, as well as Spotify for podcasters. For Apple Podcasts, if I go into the channel that we've created, you have the option of creating a banner, and then as well as the icon, and you can change the name, the description, you can give the website, and then once you go into your show, then you can edit your show details and the name, description, and all of that. And the most important part is going to be right here where it says RSS feed. And it's going to be the same thing with the Spotify podcasters. Once you create an account, you're going to want to go to the top left-hand corner, and then you're going to want to go ahead and go to add or claim your podcast. And this is where you're going to be able to also link your RSS feed. Now, a podcast RSS feed basically contains any information about your show as well as the episodes. This feed comes from your Anchor profile, and then once you paste it onto your Spotify for podcasters and Apple Podcast account, it'll go ahead and automatically upload all of your episodes onto those platforms. So you can see here, once it's done processing on Anchor, I can go ahead and click on save episode. And from here, I can give the episode a title as well as a description. So I know a ton of different podcasters like to give some affiliate links as well as some channels that they would like to link. So for example, if you're interviewing somebody on your podcast, then you might want to give their socials on the description. And from here, you can go ahead and enter the publish date. You can schedule it for any time. So let's say I want to schedule it for tomorrow at 3 p.m. Then I can go ahead and click confirm. And down here, I can also add some polls polls, which is only available on Spotify, as well as Q&As. And I can also go ahead and customize the episode by the season number, episode type, as well as the content. If you want, you can also upload some new episode art. After that, you would basically go ahead and schedule the episode. But for this one, I'll go ahead and delete it since I'm not actually going to use it. But from here, if you want to obtain your RSS feed, then you'd basically go up to your settings and then go to podcast availability. And you can see right here, you have your RSS feed to copy. And then from here, I would just go into my Apple Podcast account, go to edit, and then from here, I can paste it and then save it. Same thing for your Spotify account. You can go ahead and link your RSS feed. That way your podcast will automatically be uploaded onto Spotify, and there's no need to upload anything onto Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You just need to upload one episode onto Anchor, and then it'll do everything for you. Now, if I scroll down here, you guys can see that they have a ton of different other platforms that you guys can publish to. For example, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, a bunch of more. And yeah, this platform is super good for being able to distribute your podcast for free. So from here, once I've linked my RSS feed to my Apple Podcast and my Spotify podcast, and if you also have an account with your Google Podcasts or whatever other platform that you use, you can go ahead and paste your RSS feed onto those as well, and those will automatically upload. So every time that I want to upload a new episode, I would just have to go to Anchor, go to my account, click on new episode up here, and from here I can upload the audio file, save changes, edit some of the title and descriptions, and then go ahead and publish. One last thing that I want to remind you guys about is that you guys just need to get started. Start with what you have and don't be afraid of being perfect from the start. No one is perfect from the beginning, and this goes for anything that you do. So don't get analysis paralysis and just start with the basics and level up as you go. Now, if you enjoyed the video and got some value out of it, please let us know in the comments, and also be sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth tutorials like this in the future. Our goal with this channel is to help out any new entrepreneurs and content creators that don't know where to start, and feel free to reference this video at any time while you're setting up your own podcast. That's all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.